Full time at the Vitality Stadium, Manchester United to Bournemouth, to a game of Premier League football that I really enjoyed until it was ruined by controversy. And if that's not an indictment on this season in the Premier League as a whole, then I don't know what is. And I think that's where I'm going to start my 5 things. So, lesson number 1, VAR and the referees continue to be inconsistent. And this is across the whole league, but I'm going to highlight it in this game because I'm a United fan and it directly affected me today. Both instances are the same contact. Both instances have 2 very different results. And when I talked about in the beginning of this being just a fantastic game of football, I want to be able to highlight that I really enjoyed this game. Regardless if Bournemouth had gone on to win it, or if United had gone on to win it, I would have enjoyed it all the same. Because it was free-flowing, it was within the realm of just it being the players who decided the match, and 2 instances directly affect and cost United 2 goals and all 3 points. And it's based off of inconsistencies. And this is my biggest problem with VAR, because the whole point of VAR is for them to fill in the gray area. Because a lot of times in the sport, there are objective decisions that are either right or wrong. Right? Those are easily fixed. VAR with lines. Actually, this year it hasn't been, but in general, like lines or fouls, those things can be deemed by the letter of the law to be right or wrong. And today you had 2 very similar instances of contact that have 2 very different results. And I don't know how in this version of VAR, the one that should be getting better year over year, it feels like it's going in the opposite direction. And this is across the Premier League. Like, I'm not going to act like United haven't benefited from this in the past. They definitely have. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that not every single team has had this same kind of thing. And the fact that it happened twice in the same match is fucking crazy. And in terms of importance for United, like, they're in a UCL race. Like, they can't afford to miss out on it now. And if at the end of the season, United don't make it, it's going to be because of this result. Or it can be. And it shouldn't be the talking point from this season. But that's the one that I continue to go to in the Premier League. And this is the one that Mila's talked about for Manchester City. And the one that Grant's talked about for Chelsea. On this podcast, we have talked about the referees, honestly, sometimes more than we've talked about the general play because of the amount of decisions that have directly affected results. And that sucks. And I'm tired of having to do it. So that's where I'm going to leave this point and leave it down to, if you're going to be consistent, at least be consistently shit. And not consistently inconsistent. Because that's contradictory. You shouldn't be both. Be one or the other. It sucks. But anyways, moving on. Lesson 2. Ahmed and Mbeumo have continued to struggle through the last 4 or 5 matches, I'd say. I don't know whether that's down to just not seeing the ball go to the back of the net. I think they both could really use it. Mbeumo seems frustrated. I think Ahmed does too. I'll start with Ahmed in this match in particular because I thought he was awful. And the penalty, honestly, would have just saved his performance. I thought that was the worst of what Ahmed normally is, which was he was inefficient, ineffective, and not just plain and simple, not very good today. And I think that isn't just like a today thing only. I think he's just kind of struggled to find form since returning from AFCON. And when there's a guy on C.O.C who's coming off the bench and we're directly playing a guy like Mbeumo who, in these matchups, if he had been given the chances that Ahmed had in the first half, we may have been up by 2 or 3. Obviously, we're playing Mbeumo as a striker, so I don't know. But that plays directly into it. Like, Ahmed, to fit in this team, we have to sit somebody. And so him directly missing those chances in the first half, who knows? This game could have been done and dusted at halftime. But I don't think that it'll get worse, if I'm being honest with you. I think this is a low point for him, but it needs to be better. And I don't think it warrants him starting the next match, right? Or same with Mbeumo. Like, either of them could get dropped for C.O.C, who I think is deserving of a start again. And Mbeumo, like, the frustration points are starting to boil, and while I think he gives you work rate and energy for most games, you can tell that there's certain things that are starting to piss him off. Like, Cunha didn't play him in a pass, and he was kind of waving his arms and doing the whole thing, which I don't really mind. but it's starting to build for him. And for someone whose character usually isn't that, I find it a little concerning just because that means that he's frustrated at everything. And he, actually more than Ahmad, needs just to see the ball hit the back of the net. So I'm being picky, but also critical because they both could have just kind of solved the game and helped us get points. Maybe if we score in the first half, the game is just different. So that's lesson number 2. They need to be better. Now, lesson 3, contradictory to those two, has been Cunha. Over the last 4 games, while the G&A haven't necessarily been there, he has just been a game changer on all fronts. And in this one in particular, he had Jimenez in hell. Like, just straight up in hell. It wasn't even... That was proper, like, winger play against a fullback. Like, it was just... He had him on skates. It almost felt like he was just blitzing him constantly. And I like that word blitz because it reminds me of kind of like a linebacker. I'm American here, so I'm going to switch this to an American thing. But a linebacker attacking an offensive lineman where they just feel a step slow at all times. And that's kind of how it felt. He blitzed him, he wins the penalty, and it helps United pick up a point here. But for me, it's all the stuff that Cunha is doing off the ball. And I don't think it's being talked about enough, but in this structure, he's being asked to track back quite a bit. And that was not his role at Wolves. Like, they did not have him track back at all. That's why his numbers in terms of those running stats last season when he was first signed kept popping up and people were concerned, was because he was asked directly not to do that. And one of the benefits to playing once a week is that he gets to work his socks off. But he doesn't ever feel like he's that tired. And today he only came off because we got a red card. I thought he was our best player today, if I'm being completely honest with you. Obviously, him and Bruno. Bruno, I'm not going to do a point on because it's just getting redundant at this point. But him and Cunha are starting to link up well. I think that he's just been one of our best players. And Dorgu could have been used in this game. And the fact that he's still having to use Luke Shaw as his left back pairing is a little disappointing. And it'll be a big need in the summer, someone who can be next to Cunha. So shout out to Cunha. I think he's been great over the last 4 games. And hopefully that continues because we need it for the run-in. And that's lesson number 3. Now, lesson number 4, a guy that I just don't think is getting enough credit, or maybe he is getting enough credit, and I'm just not talking about enough, is Lemans. The guy continues to impress, and when we're talking about bargain signings of the summer, he's got to be up there, because he's on low wages, he came for cheap, and he's totally revolutionized the United team. I think we've only lost 2 matches with him in net, which is crazy to think about. Like, the floor with Lemans compared to with Onana or with Bayindir, like last year we lose this game by 4, and you all know it. And it's like those shots, like that first one from Ryan in the first half, because it sticks out to me. It knuckles. It should be saved, but it's difficult nonetheless, and he makes the save. But on corners, on crosses, in a league that is so set-piece dependent and so claim dependent as a goalkeeper, he does it constantly, and he makes the big ones, and he just has a sense of calm to him. And I don't know where he learned that at his age. He absolutely has no reason to do it. And when you compare him to some of the other goalkeepers in this league, he's almost light years ahead of them in terms of maturity, even if they are older than him. It's very impressive, and I continue to be more impressed with this signing. It's the type of signing that you want to see United make more of, because these guys are out there. You just have to do the due diligence and the research to get them in. So shout out to him and everything that he's brought, which is solidity. And it's funny because I gave him this point in a 2-2 match because I think that ultimately the only goals that he's giving up are penalties and the XGs that are under 0.1%. Or 0.1. So 10%. Like the goal for Christie was a 0.04. So shout out Lemans. He's lesson 4. Now, lesson 5. Resilient Reds. Michael Carrick, since coming in, has lost 1 match. And when you are racing for top 5 to get Champions League, you have to be consistently good. And this United team, week over week, continues to be consistently good. They've had 1 really poor result. And everything else has been at least a 6, right? Maybe a 7. I'd argue a 7. It's been consistently a 7. Whether that's been good enough to get them wins in all of them? No. But 7 in 10, right? They've 9 of their last 10. Like, you're building stuff here, and the resilience of this team in general, like, you're going back and forth. You get the pen. You take the lead. You have that awful VAR controversy going against you, which I could only imagine is super fucking frustrating. They just get right back on the ball. They figure it out. They get a set piece and they score. And they figure out a way to take the lead again. And then when their leader, who just is about to pencil in a new extension, shout out to you, Maguire, I think you deserve it, who just got a call up, gets a red card, and we give up a penalty, the game becomes 2-2. They had to sit there with 9 minutes of extra time. Don't know where that came from. And for 20 minutes, see out a match to at least get a point to continue momentum into this international break and sit 7 points clear. Obviously, Chelsea have a game in hand, but 7 points clear of 6th place. And this resilience has been in the team all year. I talked about it with Mila and Grant on our podcast. But the ability to bounce back and the ability to pick up points, maybe when you shouldn't, because I think with the game state and the momentum and all that stuff, United probably should have lost at the end there with the final 20. Everything considered. They continue to right wrongs and to build off of things and build off of performances. And I think today, just getting and seeing over a line of a point is so critical. It's so critical because at the end of the year, it could come down to 1 point. And we'll look back to that time where United were down a man after some VAR controversy and still got a point at a difficult place to play that most teams right now are not picking up all 3 points. So it's good on them. It's good on us. And we just have to continue to build. And obviously this next 24 days is going to be rough. It's rough even saying 24 days. It's a month. The next game I might be at in Manchester, which is crazy to say. Living in San Diego might be in the next time that United play. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Those are my 5 things. If you want to stay in the know of football stuff and you want to continue to have dialogue through this really tough international break, if you're a United fan or just a club fan in general, check our podcast out. We're going to have stuff coming out every single week leading up into that when the return happens. And we'll even cover some stuff for international games and friendlies because the World Cup is just around the corner and it's about to get good. But before I leave it there, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the match. Are you fucking pissed off at VAR? Are you angry at the players for clicking off during moments and not just seeing out this match how it should have been? It's a difficult thing when there is that big of a controversy not to blame it directly all on that. But now I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for listening. I have been Dylan from the COC Network, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.